Okay. So hi, my name is Ruth Cray, and I'd like to welcome everyone here today. And I'd also like to invite you to write down any questions you have that may arise during this presentation, because at the end we'll have some time for questions. Now I'd like to share a little bit about why I chose to build this home-based business. So first of all, I was very intrigued with the health benefits that I found with redox, and I was really intrigued for myself and for my family members and for other people that I love. And now I can see that everyone deserves to know about this, and I'd love to be a blessing in their lives. The other reason I was drawn to this was the people in ASEA, and especially the people on my team. And I found that a sense of belonging with this group and with similar values who care about others. And I realized this even before I even knew I was a part of the team, because right after I joined this group, I injured my back, and it was very, very painful. And Marion reached out to me even before she even met me, before she even knew me, and said, I have some skills I have something that could help you. And I was putting redox on my back, and that was helping, but my back was really inflamed. And Gloria was gracious enough to drive me out to Marion's house, and Marion did some energy work on my back. And I was able to ride home with Gloria with a little bit more comfort. And it took a while for my back to heal, but what I remembered is that, Marion, this individual, this wonderful individual, she was on our team, she reached out to me and showed me that ASEA is not just about sharing ASEA, it's about caring for one another. So now I'm going to share this disclaimer. Please know that these products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. What redox signaling molecules do is support the cells to communicate in order to detect, repair, or replace any cells they need in order for the body to heal itself. So my vision going forward is not just about ASEA, but about caring and supporting one another. And my vision is to grow this team and be a blessing in other people's lives. Now I'd like to hand off to another one of our team members, Darleen Dozier.
Thanks, Ruth. I am Darleen Dozier, and welcome to everyone. We have a video today that's going to be parallel with our next speaker, and it discusses, which kind of touches on my life. After I got done raising my kids, I joined the ASEA family back in January via Gloria and met all these wonderful people, these wonderful products that aligned with a healthy lifestyle, and took care of some problems along the way. But so I asked these questions. Are you in a rut? Do you have dreams? And do you want to be your own boss? Those were all questions that touched on me personally. And so our next video, what do you want to get out of life, helps with those things.
When I want to be grown up, I want to play hockey. I want to be a DJ or a dancer when I grow up. Probably be video games designer because I like playing video games. A dad. Some grown-ups kind of get boring jobs because maybe they'll make more money with it than they would with jobs that were funner.
If you're doing the job that you do like, then you're not really working any day. You're not really working at all because it's something that you actually like. It's not something that you don't like.
I mean, of course, as a kid, I wanted to be in the majors. I wanted to play Major League Baseball or basketball. Of course.
I just remember I wanted to be a boss. It didn't matter what kind of boss. I just want to be a boss of someone.
Yeah, I mean, I dreamt about traveling the world. I mean, nobody wants to stay at home all day.
And one day I was just like, I can't do this.
I don't know how to travel with my kids. I don't see a way to go anywhere.
There are times in life I just all of a sudden realize I'm just here, I'm just existing, that I'm not progressing anymore.
I think as kids, we have all these amazing dreams. Generally, as people get older, you get caught in that rut of, well, I can't do that, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time freedom. And network marketing actually has fulfilled all of those dreams for me.
I now can see that it's okay to dream, and it's okay to have hope for the future, because really before I just didn't think it was possible.
For me, network marketing has introduced me to a lot of friends that I never would have met otherwise.
What I'm doing now, I'm able to give people hope.
Everything is in your control. Your happiness is in your control. Your future is in your control. How much you make is in your control.
I've traveled to almost every continent around the world. Not only can you go to see a phenomenal area, but you have a purpose. You already have friends in that area.
You have to put the work out there. What you put out there comes back.
It is 100% the best thing that you could ever do. Have a home-based business, but you get to build your dreams. You get to go live your dreams.
Hold on while I get my mouse to work for me. Here we go. So now I want to get to introduce Jackie Wetzler. My name is Gloria Liebecker, and I'm thrilled to have Jackie here as our guest speaker today. I met her mom, Debbie, this year when we got to go to Cancun, and I heard a lot about Jackie. But what I'm really excited about is getting to hear from Jackie, her experience direct from her. She was born and raised in Maryland, and I hear that she always wanted to be on TV and make a difference in the world. After she landed that first job, though, she discovered it was not her dream after all. And so she actually reached out to someone that knew her mom and ended up saying, hey, you might want to talk with your mom about what you'd like to do. And Jackie has done super great. And so I just love to turn it right over to you, Jackie, and get to hear directly from you more about your life, who you are, and how you discovered ASEA. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you all. And so, yes, my story was I'm born and raised in Maryland, always wanted to be on TV, to make a big impact with people. I wanted to be known for something really good. I became a news reporter and anchor, moved to Casper, Wyoming, and landed my first job at the NBC affiliate there. And working there for a little bit, I realized that was not my dream job, and I was craving time freedom. I didn't want the 9 to 5. I didn't want to work in a cubicle. I was like, I guess I want to be my own boss, and I loved helping people. I've always loved health, my degrees in kinesiology. I had thought about going into the medical field, but thankfully I didn't for many reasons. And so Marion Struble, she is an ASEA, but she's also a life coach, just said, Jackie, based on what you're looking for in the perfect job, you might want to talk to your mom. And this was 5 years ago, and I rolled my eyes. I never thought I'd be doing network marketing. I didn't think it was a real job or profession. I didn't think my mom would last long in it, basically. And little did I know, though, she is one of the top leaders in ASEA and has really made a legacy out of this. And so, ironically, the 2017 ASEA convention was 2 weeks away. And my mom just said, Jackie, if you're thinking about doing this, come to the convention. You'll learn if this is for you or not. And it was the best 4 days of my life. And I thoroughly mean that. It blew my mind away of how big of an impact this technology is making all over the world, and the testimonials I heard and the science behind it. And that was the year the genetic study was just released. And I learned why ASEA was brought out through network marketing, and that network marketing is a real profession. And the biggest impact at the convention was seeing how big of a leader my own mother was and how many lives she's personally touched. I mean, out of the thousands of people at the convention, I mean, I felt like 90% of them went up to my mom to thank her, and or, you know, was telling me, your mom is the heart of this company and just has helped or saved my life in some way, basically. And I just remember being like, wow, like, I want to be my mom one day and make this big of an impact. So that was the biggest thing for me. And like I said, that was 5 years ago. I haven't looked back. I love doing this business as well. And I love, just like you all have said, is just, you know, making a difference while making a living. And so it just fulfilled everything I was looking for in the perfect job of having that time and financial freedom and helping people in a big way and so forth, and being able to do it from home. So that's
awesome.
my story.
Well, I'd love to hear, did you use the products?
Yeah, so my mom was introduced to it 12 years ago. And her story, if you're not familiar with it, but she had heard about ASEA through a woman named Cindy Buck in Colorado. And my mom got a phone call from her. My mom was in a really bad financial situation, actually about to lose her house. And she called up my mom. Cindy had no idea what was going on with my mom, but she just said, Debbie, I've come across something. I love and care about you. I know you love to help people. You know, would you take a look at this incredible health technology? And so Cindy sent her the only video they had at the time. And my mom said, wow, like, if this is true, this has got to be huge. So she had a friend working at the National Institute of Health, NIH, as a molecular biologist. And she just said, hey, I've come across something. Can I come over and have you validate if this is real or not? So she brought the information in to her, and she, according to my mom, almost fell off her chair. And she said, oh my God, Debbie, I've been studying these molecules for 17 years. And we've had scientists from around the world come to NIH and try to do this. Are you telling me someone was able to make and stabilize these molecules outside the body? And my mom said, yes. She said, well, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as we know it. So she got on it that night, and she drove down and told my brother and I to get on this. And she's like, I wish I had this when I was in my 20s. It would have prevented me from all sorts of stuff. So I was, I guess, put on the product 12 years ago, but really didn't take it serious and wasn't very consistent with it until 5 years ago, when I really realized what it was and what it was doing for me.
And what did you notice that it was doing for you?
So luckily I was young and healthy, although I have testimonials now over the last 12 years of what it's helped me with a lot. The biggest two was I had come down with mono shortly after my mom was introduced to this. And so I don't know if you've ever had mono or know or love someone with mono, but you become very lethargic, very tired for weeks to months. And my mom basically flooded me with these molecules and gave me 2 ounces every 2 hours. And in 3 days, I looked and felt fine. And so I was like, let's go back to the doctor to see if I'm, you know, still positive. And he actually got mad. He's like, why are you back here? She's very contagious. My mom said, look, she feels and looks fine. Just retest her. And he does. And his eyes come back huge. And he goes, I don't know what you've been giving her, but she's negative. So that was one big testimonial. And another testimonial I tell people, my grandma had dropped a wine glass in the kitchen, and I stepped on it with my bare foot. It was a big chunk of glass going into my foot. And so right away, my mom put the ASEA in a bowl. I soaked my foot in. In the first few minutes, the pain stopped, the bleeding stopped. And within about 30 minutes or so, I took my foot out, and even my grandma said, wow, you can't even see where you cut your foot. It healed so quickly. So I've used it for many, many, many different things, but those are the two biggest testimonials I share with people.
Well, so then why were you skeptical?
I mean, I guess I was young. I was 21 when I started this, and I guess it just didn't dawn on me, to be honest with you. I didn't know that mono lasts for weeks to months.
Okay.
And as far as the cut in my foot, it just didn't dawn on me of how quickly it would have, or not quickly, it would have healed without ASEA. So I just didn't really pay attention to it, to be honest. It was kind of just in the back end and something my mom was doing. So
that was it. So being a part of ASEA though, how has Believe, Belong, and Become impacted your life?
So I definitely got the belief at the convention. And so I urge you, if you've never been, or if you want other people to know this is real, to bring them to convention. That was my light bulb watershed moment. So that's where my belief began. And then the belong, I mean, I'm so grateful to have basically grown up with these people and to know that these are my family members, basically. And even my mom said, I'm so grateful that, when I pass, Jackie will at least have these people surrounding her as part of her family, and knowing that these people are there to support and love me no matter what. And so you feel that, obviously you all have felt that in this family called ASEA. And so these are my second family members, and I can go to them with just about anything. And so it is a community, but it's more than that, it's a family. And then Become, I feel like every day is more and more personal development with this. And they say this is a personal development mission with a compensation plan attached to it. And that's so true. I am not the same person I was 5 years ago. And I continue to grow every day with this. And I love it. And it's becoming a new version and better version of yourself.
Wow. So you are building a team. So I'm curious, what do you see in the future for your team and also for the future of ASEA?
So I think, going back to personal development, you continue to grow and you will attract of who you are. I think that's so critical. And your team is a reflection of who you are. And that really struck me recently. And so it's continued to push me into being a better version of myself. And I see the vision of ASEA, it's never going away. It's going to continue to get bigger and bigger. For myself, I mean, I'm wanting to make a global impact just like my mother has and beyond. That was always my mission as a little girl, to make that big impact. And as far as ASEA, I mean, I see it being $1 billion company, just like they've all predicted in 5 years, and it being a household item and everyone knowing about this. And, so no matter if they say no now, they will come back to you eventually.
So what kind of people are you looking for, Jackie?
I mean, I'm looking for those that are coachable, hungry, and motivated, just like you all are, I'm sure. And a version of myself, I am a people's person. I feel like I'm down to earth. I feel like I'm relatable. I feel like I'm personable, and I'm funny. I like to make people laugh. And I also want people to be I guess the word would be digital savvy. They don't have to be perfect digitally, but with me being young, I gravitate towards people that, can pick up technology fairly quickly, and just beyond that, because I'm building now on social media. And whereas in the beginning of this business, I grew through belly to belly and person to person and so forth, but I'm really wanting to do this from home and build it from home now.
Well, so what I'm hearing that then specifically, what you're highlighting is that the method that you're using, it's an evolved method, and that you're really wanting to grow that, and that's going to be like a cornerstone of your team and your team's success. So what learning tools have worked best for you to keep you strong and motivated in this journey?
Of course, they plugged in. You always learn something new, whether it's on a call or an event. A better way to say something. Like I said, you'll always continue to grow in this. Listen to podcasts. I'm listening to a podcast, Jessie Lee. She's the #1 network marketer in the world, and she talks mostly about social media. So that's where I get a lot of helpful hints from her. And of course, reading personal development books and so forth. But it's just doing the action and doing the actions every single day of reaching out to people, because that's how we build this business, is talking to people. And we're in the people business, and it's by, creating those connections that turn into relationships that turn into business. So, people, like I said, will do what you do. And so I think just being a spear in your own business and showing people what needs to be done, and staying consistent and doing it every single day, even when you don't feel like it.
So consistency is super key.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, I'd love to open this up and see if other people have questions that they'd like to ask you, since we have you here.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, Marion.
Jackie, I've followed some of your podcasts and things, and I really admire you. I'm wondering now, are your people mostly young people like yourself, or all ages? That's my first question.
I would say from 35 to 55 is the main area of age that I've attracted, basically, or am attracting.
Have there been any wonderful wow moments where someone that you introduced this to has had a wonderful breakthrough in health or other areas?
Absolutely. I guess I have a lot. Two that stick out with me, if you'd like me to share. So one sounds too good to be true, but of course we hear this all the time. I had introduced this to a blind man, Oli, and he had adopted 3 blind triplets, all born blind at birth. And one of them, Leo, had gotten on ASEA. He was going through surgery, stomach surgery, and luckily with ASEA had no implications, had very little to no pain, was pretty much okay after 3 days with ASEA. But he wanted to see what ASEA would do for his eyes. And so he had sprayed this on his eyes. And I think about 6 months later is when I met him at the convention. And first time meeting him and all 3 of the triplets and so forth. And Leo, for the first time ever at this convention, was able to see light. He was able to see shadows. He was able to see things he's never been able to see in 20 years of his life. And I was floored. That sounded too good to be true, but he's the one telling me this. And so that was one story that really has stuck out with me. And then another story, I had introduced this to a nurse, and we met online, and luckily, she was probably the most skeptic person that I came across. And she's like, I'll just try this for 1 month. Well, she had, I don't know if I'm supposed to be compliant or not, but yes, be compliant. Okay. So she had an inflammatory issue, an autoimmune inflammatory issue that left her body in pain and discomfort everywhere. And she starts on ASEA, and 3 days after being on ASEA, had no pain. I mean, and she'd been having this issue for years. And so she called me up and she goes, what is this stuff I need to share with people? So those were the 2 big stories that really came out at me.
Wow. So inspiring to just be more fuel and motivation to share with more people.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what I love, the story you come across. I mean, and you just never know what's going on in people's life, whether they need this for health or wealth or who they know. And so I'd never prejudge anyone, and I just tell everyone about it.
Yeah. Do I have any other questions? All right, well, I'm going to pass off then to our next team member, Rhoda, to, oh, well, wait a minute. I do have one more thing. Jackie, after people have gotten to hear this kind of a story, it's like, yeah, it sounds too good to be true. But what are some of the options that people have after coming across this information?
I mean, I would say get all your questions answered. Reach out to the person who introduced it to you and make sure that you get all your questions answered so that you can make an informed decision if this is right for you or not. But the nice thing is that because ASEA is native to the body, it can't hurt anybody in any way. No one can be allergic and no one can have any bad side effects. So, and it's good for all living things, humans, animals, and plants. So that's what I would recommend.
So if people wanted to start with ASEA, what are the different options or different kinds of buckets that they could choose from?
So there's retail. I never suggest retail because you get one-time order and you pay more. Then there's a preferred customer where you can get wholesale pricing. You have to agree to a monthly shipment. You can cancel anytime. And then the associate, where there's a one-time investment of $40. You get your own website. So when and if you ever decide to share this with people, you're open to commission. And there, for your first enrollment, you are open to different packages, bundles, to get more bang for your buck, which is great. And then you can get wholesale pricing at any time. So if you cancel your monthly shipment and reorder, you still get everything at wholesale. Either if you become an associate or preferred customer, with either option, you get, every time you get product, you accumulate more loyalty points, which you can redeem to get free product as well. So those are the 3 options.
Great. Thank you so much for covering all.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, I'm heading off then to you, Rhoda. You'll need to unmute yourself, please.
There I am. My computer even told me I was muted. So that's always nice. Well, yes, I'm Rhoda Ingstead, and I came into this group by Gloria Liebecker because I had become a paraplegic almost overnight in March of 2021. But I have been using Redox since last September, almost a year now. And I have increased a lot, and I'm walking with a walker and looking forward to walking without one. And today my big aha is I got to take a real shower instead of sitting on a bench and being in my sister's shower and using the little hand sprayer. I stood under the spray in my own shower and hung on to my bars that are in my shower, but it was so great to just have the water pour on me. And that was my big, I've been looking forward to doing that. I think since I came home in over a year ago. So I just am so grateful to Gloria and to Redox for helping me along my journey. And so I will be taking Redox through the rest of my life. And we thank you, Jackie Wetzler, for sharing your testimony and for taking the time out of your day. And it was so encouraging to hear about mono for 3 days and your foot cut and how quickly that healed, and the other stories, the other real life stories that you told us, and we really appreciate that. And a huge thank you to guests that were invited either here or will be able to watch the video, and they've invited me to come and listen and learn. And I encourage you to contact the person who invited you and find out what your next steps might be. And our next meeting will be next Tuesday, and August 9th at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And come and hear Leah Rasmussen. And she's going to talk about how she shares ASEA with faith. And of course, Jerry White, our upline, always has some fantastic story to share with us. So we thank you for being here and appreciate it. And we'll see you on Tuesday.